is Federica. I'm part of the Doc City team, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to this live webinar of emlyon Business School. So today we will be talking about prototyping a digital healthcare solution, and we will be focused on the Master of Science in Health Management and Data Intelligence from emlyon Business School. And it's my pleasure to introduce you our speaker for today. So we have Florencio and Benjamin, who are the co-director of the Master in Science in Health Management and Data Intelligence. We have Natalie, who's a program advisor at emlyon. And we also have the pleasure to have with us Jean-Baptiste, who is actually a student. And it will be a great opportunity for you to also hear from his perspective. I can see that more people are connecting, so it's actually a good time to start. For whoever just joined, my name is Federica, part of the Doc City team, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to this live webinar of emlyon Business School. We invite you to write all of your questions into the Q&A box that you find in your Zoom window, and we will be answering during the second part of the presentation, but please feel free to type all of your questions during the presentation. They will be answered at the second time. So I will now leave the floor to Florencio. Good. And we can start with the presentation.
Thank you so much, Federica, and thank you, Doc City, for this invitation to share our experiences throughout these couple of years. So it's a young, let's say, it's a young Master of Science with a long name, you know, Health Management and Data Intelligence. Now, there's an interesting. I will maybe start by saying, you know, let's talk about the birth of this, as everything, the birth of this Master of Science was born out of the needs expressed by the industry, right? That they said, you know, many companies that said, you know, we need professionals that can relate to the technical side, to the management side, to the bioscience, to the medtech world, and to be able to deal with all the players, you know, the stakeholders in the ecosystem. So that was the basic need. And then, of course, the label, we could say, of artificial intelligence was, I wouldn't say mandatory or an obligation, but, you know, today data intelligence or artificial intelligence is present everywhere. So just to give you a quick run through of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to present, we are going to present with Benjamin the main characteristics of the program very quickly. That way we leave space for questions. Nathalie Durand is going to be discussing a little bit with Jean-Baptiste Michel, our student, the characteristics of the admission process and some, you know, all the questions, also the typical questions that arise. And then we're going to be focusing on the prototyping of how do we do prototyping in our program, which is very interesting and added value because we work with companies. So I will give you those approaches later today. I'm going to share my screen with this, and I imagine that you can see my screen. So here we are seeing basically a general presentation of both schools. I'm going to quickly basically introduce or discuss a little bit of our school, emlyon Business School, and then I will let Benjamin discuss Mines, Saint-Etienne. But basically, the element that is going to bring emlyon into this program is we talk about early makers, but the need and the interest to do things, to create businesses, to develop businesses, curious entrepreneurs, and young people without the fear of making mistakes and basically starting over and developing things. That's the goal of our management school, if you want, from a perspective of, you know, of business school, classical business school. And we have the luck to be working with Mines Saint-Etienne, and I will let Benjamin introduce Mines Saint-Etienne quickly.
Yeah, so Mines Saint-Etienne is an engineering school that addresses like many engineering areas. Could be physics, could be mechanical, and healthcare and biomedical engineering is one main part of our expertise. And this is where the collaboration with emlyon Business School is. It's because Florencio said, okay, we have this need, companies have this need to have crossover professionals that have these double skills, you know, in business and in engineering. And we have to master at the very technical level, okay, different parts of the healthcare revolution we are facing with data action, data generation, but also the medical part, okay, what kind of use data could be in this technical area. And this is where the professors and the expertise of Saint-Etienne is involved in this MSc. It's in this overview of, okay, as of today, what are the challenges from a technical point of view in healthcare and biomedical engineering, most of all.
Yes, and the interesting thing about the two schools is that we are mixing basically the best of both worlds, we could even say. I just saw that we had Andre from Portugal or Brazil, probably. Benvindo. I'm going to say that we are discussing this master, and ideally I'll let Federica to manage the questions for later. So this is one of the sessions that we had a couple of years ago when we were presenting and showcasing our program. So in general, these are the views for both our schools. This one here is emlyon Business School, and this one is in Saint-Etienne. So we have a lab, a hospital lab, where we do some sessions in Saint-Etienne. So sometimes you have to go to Saint-Etienne, but normally we schedule those trips for the day. Saint-Etienne is around 40 minutes from our school. These are the companies that are participating with us in different ways. Okay. Now, you may know some of these. I could add other Boston-based companies, but this year we had the participation of this entity called the Health Data Hub, that is depending from the Minister of Health and Solidarity in France, and we were very proud that the head of the Health Data Hub is our godmother or our sponsor of the program. So we have a very important backing from this public entity. This year, we're working with confirmed companies like Sanofi or Servier or bioMérieux or Roche, or IBM certainly, that they interact with our program in different ways. We will discuss it in a little bit. Not only they are there for scouting potential interns, which is one of the values of our introduction with the companies, but also participating into the program by integrating their companies as business cases in courses. So basically, the interesting thing is that maybe you have a course, and then you will be studying one of these companies as part of the course. Okay, some are smaller. I wouldn't say smaller, but more on the startup mode. Some other consulting agencies like Alcimed or Quadrant. Some are French, some are foreign, and so on. This is just a few. These are connected watches and scales, and Dr. Lib is a huge company in France on basically the leader probably today in France in terms of telemedicine or telehealth consultations. Okay, so good. Moving on, maybe the goals of the program. We need to wake you up in terms of this changing industry. Okay, we want you to be aware of this changing industry. We want you to be aware of new technologies. These technologies could mean interacting with artificial intelligence, but also with devices, other type of professionals, working with the finance people, and so on and so forth. Understanding the risks that these activities imply, and develop then, if you want, the capacity to manage teams, okay, to manage a group of people, and to interact with other friends and colleagues from different parts of the world. I can talk about we have 17 this year. We have 17 different nationalities, okay, and then we have we could say that 50% are Franco or French speaking almost, and then we have 60% of women or 55% of women, and I will talk to you about later about the background of this, because the background of our students. Just in a nutshell, you may have a different background, but what it counts, basically, you may have a business background or a technical background or a science background, but what it counts is your interest in developing new capacities, new competencies. This is a vision, a view of our big room, a big hall, where we do the opening ceremony at the beginning of the year. So hopefully next year you will be there, sitting somewhere, and then we have a presentation of all programs. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. This is the confirmation of our background students. We have this year we have 40% coming from management and business, and 60% coming from traditional, we could say, science or medtech or biomedical approaches. Okay, so it's interesting because the group that is coming from management that are needing, you could say, a sort of catching up to speed in terms of this science elements, they will be basically using those first months, 3-4 months at the beginning of the year, to catch up and to get all the basic approaches on in terms of a little bit of science or general topics. And the group that is coming from life sciences is going to also have some sort of like a leveling courses on management and finance and accounting, in order to be at excellent shape for the start of the year. Okay, so wherever you come from, whatever your background is, we can adapt, not adapt, but we will accept different backgrounds as long as the candidate understands how this program is going to complement their needs. Okay, and that we will discuss eventually a little bit with Natalie from admissions in a second, but you have to explain to us in the admission process how this program is going to help you, take you to the next level. Okay, this is important for us. This is probably one of the key issues here, is this unique 360-degree approach, something that other programs do not have. One thing is the multidisciplinary approach. Okay, so it's multidisciplinary approach. What does it mean? It's not science, just science. It's not just medicine or just multidisciplinary. Okay, so basically it's going to be complex and highly complete. You're going to talk about theory of courses, management issues, an enormous amount of international exposure, companies, strategy with other businesses, and also then we have a component of early makers, which is typical of our school. Okay, we will have different characteristics that basically our program has. If I had to tell you what is the biggest difference between us and other programs, is that we have, number one, fully international. We work with many companies abroad, in Europe and abroad. We have a professionalizing experience, which basically implies that from the beginning you are prototyping and you have many professors or participants that are people from the sector that are going to be teaching you or sharing experiences. And then the management approach together with this entrepreneurial vision, okay, and very highly modern vision. So this is not something that is found in all the programs. We have, an accent is put on employability. We have a very robust career services that is helping you and supporting in terms of preparing your CV or preparing your interviews, to have good interviews and to have good cover letters. Okay, there's a lot of events happening. We had an event last week with the consulting companies, and it's called Vocation Days with consulting companies and healthcare sector companies. And then you just log in and you have conversations with the parties and the companies, and it's very interesting. But we also expose our students many times, multiple times throughout the year, to different managers and persons in the sector. Some positions that you could be accessing to, of course, you will be exposed to the notions of consulting. You will obtain the characteristics or the competencies of a project management, right? And understanding the business implications of artificial intelligence. Okay, important thing of understanding and being an interface in the industry, right, between between all the different actors of the market. Business intelligence, which not only implies business, the idea of a business intelligence analyst or a business analyst, consultant, and a health data analyst as well. So basically people that have the capacity to understand data. Okay, this is something that is very important. And also at the same time, analyze data with a business perspective, okay? Analyzing competitors, analyzing business entry capacities, and so on. Ethics and compliance could also be an exit point, and also data privacy officer eventually in smaller companies where regulation of data today with the increasing amount of not only GDPR as data protection, but also specific protection on sensitive data as healthcare related. This is a view of our classrooms. This is when we were in the first year, when we were only, almost 20 students. And this is the structure of the program today. We are having, this is at the beginning of the year, basically, when we start, there's some prerequisite courses that are going to be online. And then here we have preparation of your tools and basically how to use the library and so on. These are the online courses that you're going to be doing as a preparation to keep you up to speed. This is going to be the key element that we're going to be discussing later. It's called Transforming Early Makers Track, or TEM. And this is going to basically use a lot of time in our first when you get into the program. The good thing about this is that it's a very intense, and Giambattista will tell you later, a very intense 4, 5, 6 weeks where you have to develop and prototype a solution. There's a lot of freedom, but there's a lot of constraints. We have the first block of courses, you could say, or core courses later on. And then this will be in December. We have our international week, our exposure to international, international experiences and people and conferences and so on. After the Christmas break, we go back and we dive into a more technical sector, technical section with a lot of courses coming from Mines Saint-Etienne, and also soft skills such as leadership, collective intelligence, and some other courses on basically, and also yes, career courses in order to prepare your interviews and so on. When we finish here, we're going to, and by the end of March, okay, end of March. So end of March, you're going to have a short break, and then beginning of April here, beginning of April, we will begin our semester in Shanghai, from April to June, okay, end of June. Here we're going to have an immersion into the Asian culture, technical, business, healthcare, and hopefully setting up camp in Shanghai with our campus in Shanghai, and this will include 32, I think, is ECTS. So basically, you're going to have a lot of content right here around probably 180 or 200 hours of courses, plus what we call the in-company project. Okay, that I'm not going to go in detail unless you have some questions later. But the in-company project is going to be basically a sort of pre-internship, proto-internship that you're going to be doing in a company, a project which will be done with 10 or 10 students, where you will have to be dealing with a company, on your own. You will have a tutor. After so here this should be June, basically, when you finish your semester in Shanghai, and then you will have to prepare your internship, right? That will start normally in July, okay, for 4 to 6 months. So you can have your internship going, at least should be going for 4 to 6 months. And then at the same time that you are developing your internship, you're going to be preparing your graduate thesis. We're going to help you to choose your topic, or at least to choose your topic and eventually aim at your company from the beginning of the semester. We encourage our students to say, okay, from the beginning, think what would be the top 10 of companies that you're interested in. That way we can narrow that sort of window of shooting for the companies. And then your graduate thesis should be a topic that is interesting for you, of course, and eventually it should apply to a certain degree with the company, okay, that you are. And then normally you're going to be finishing your graduation, your thesis presentation is going to take place normally in December or January in extremis, and then you will be graduating in February, okay? February graduation official, and then your diploma is going to be given to you in April, okay? So that's basically the rollout of the description. I don't want to be too long. I'm going to just maybe skip a couple. These are interesting because these are a selection of our courses from the first semester, second semester, and then Shanghai. We have included this year. I still put it as new because we are reshaping them, a little bit of programming, okay? But programming is being used as a way to introduce you to learn how to code in Python, and also to learn in applied data analytics, to know what are the business implications, okay? You need to know the business implications of coding, okay? So maybe you can take a screenshot. This is also in the brochure. So this is important for us to discuss later eventually. Let me just go on the fundamentals importance here. The important network of alumni, okay? More than 20,000 alumni are in the school. Probably almost 2,000 or 3,000 are in the healthcare or in innovation sector. So we tend to invite them to come and speak to us, and then to our students. And also they're going to be able to allow us to open some doors for potential internships, okay? And also, of course, visits to companies whenever this is available. We also have the value of the Asian experience, so as we said, where you will be having a lot of courses aimed at the Asian and Chinese market, okay? From supply chain, as we said, data and communication, logistics, smart health technologies, and so on. A lot of link with companies. So in that sense, there will be companies coming and sharing with you exam experiences. International Week. We used to do a trip to Boston, to the USA. We might have, basically, we want to leave that window open to travel to different places eventually in Europe or other countries. But the idea is that whatever we do, we should have, around 10 days, basically normally it's 5 to 7 days of experience in another country, in another culture, having, being able to discuss with different companies, with academics, with professionals, with startups, with venture capitalists, basically to gain that sort of networking capacities, okay? So the International Week is an international exposure, which is also another characteristic of our program. ICP we discussed, so this is like a small internship, okay? That is done, we can say like a very micro internship that is going to be done in Shanghai in small groups. Let me maybe leave this. Yeah, I'm going to stop here because we're going to be discussing transforming early makers after Natalie shows us a little bit of the admission process, and then we can take over. Okay, thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Florencio. So I will share my screen just for me to introduce you our admission process. So, okay, so if you want to apply for this program, the first thing you will have to do is that to create an account on our website and to choose, of course, the Master of Science in Health Management and Data Intelligence. And then the admission will be based on two things. The first thing will be to complete an application file online. So directly on our website, once you have created your account, you could complete your application file, and then you will have to complete some necessary information about yourself and your academic background. such as your ID, your most recent diploma, your most recent transcripts, postgraduate, and then all the English proficiency scores, the management test scores, and the recommendation letters are optional. So we do not need this kind of information for this application. And once you have submitted your application file online, our admission team will then check each application file and check that each information based on the academic file is correct and complete. And if this is okay, you will receive an access to some digital tests. So the digital tests are emlyon digital tests. So you will have for this kind of test to be, of course, alone, professionally dressed, and have a good connection. You have to use a computer better than a laptop or a phone to complete these tests. And you will have a series of various exercises, some cognitive and some logical tests for the jury to know better about your profile, why you wish to join this kind of program, and what is your professional project. So first, if we are going through the details of the digital test, you will have first a professional immersion. So you will act as a project manager, as for example, in a fictive company, and you will have to answer the questions of your colleagues in that company, selecting the most appropriate answer according to the situation. So there will be lots of questions about the project, the company, and there is no good or bad answer on this exercise. What is the most important is more what you could, how you could work in a team company, in a working team, and the members of the jury will then take into consideration various criteria, such as your capacity to take decisions, to work within a group, and to take some decisions around the project. Then you have some logical tests. So that could be, as for example, some sequences of logical based questions, such as dominoes, as for example, or some basic arithmetics, not so complicated, such as the GMAT, as for example, but very basic questions, just for the jury to have an idea of your logical thinking. And then you will have a particular interview facing your webcam, and you will have to answer some questions regarding your profile, your motivations to join the program in the emlyon, and one or two basic questions about your knowledge about the program. So the only thing is that you will be alone facing your webcam. There will be no interaction with anybody, but there will be the members of the jury will review each question and all the exercises of this digital test. So the admission is based on the digital test and the academic background. And the selection sessions are running from November to August this year. So we are actually in the fourth round of selection. So you could apply to this program. You have still time to do it. And you will have the possibility to apply to the program once, in one shot. And as I had the question in the chat, we have some financial aid or scholarships available for this program. So one or two things about it. We offer two kinds of scholarships for this program. One is the individual scholarship. So you could apply to this kind of scholarship with your application file online. So you will have to detail why you wish to have a financial help. And then the jury will take a decision over various criteria, such as the diversity of the cohort the academic background of the student, and the financial needs, of course, of the student. So this scholarship is not guaranteed, but this could be up to 40%, between 5 to 40% of the tuition fees. And then we have another type of scholarship, which is the excellence scholarship. So for the application file, the GMAT score or the GRE score are fully optional to the application, but you could send us the scores after the application and until August this year. And if you have, as for example, a very good score to GMAT, as for example, around 400 to the GMAT, as for example, you could obtain up to 15% of excellence scholarship. That could be cumulated to the individual scholarship. So I have done with my part. So I think now if you have any questions, and maybe Florence, you want to add something about this, or
thank you. There was a question about if you can apply while you are about to graduate. So basically, if you're in your last year, right, before graduation, you can apply, correct?
Yes, of course. You could apply before graduation and after the graduation as well. So you do not need to provide the diploma. You will have to provide us with a certificate, an enrollment certificate of your current studies, actually.
Correct. Federica, should we discuss some questions on admissions now, maybe?
I saw that there were some questions, and also Natalie already replied. There were a few questions about option to get a scholarship. And also we have Oshi that was wondering, so he's writing from Canada, and he was wondering about maybe if there is any difference in terms of the application process, for example, for Canadian. He was wondering if he can apply. And he's also asking if this course can also be suitable for someone who has an interest toward the field, or is mainly for someone who's looking, let's say, for a job or like has a different goal. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there's of course the idea of specialization. You want to like move yourself, a little bit higher, and at the same time, you can broaden your perspective in obtaining more competencies on artificial intelligence, data analytics, business opportunities, entrepreneurship. We have students that are developing either their entrepreneurial spirits, preparing a startup, developing projects. Jean-Baptiste himself, he's a leader of a podcast, which is growing enormously, a podcast in entrepreneurship in France. So, and we welcome all these interests, and we discuss with them, times during different moments during the year to say, okay, what do you like, or who can we put you in contact with? So that's a very typical thing of our program.
If I may,
yes.
One very, very important aspect is that you must have a strong interest for healthcare. Like, this is not just like I like data and I like technology, because all the courses are focused on healthcare. So really, it's not something you want to take extra just to have some knowledge about the field. I would say it's more if you want to work in the healthcare industry, that's definitely a door opener for the industry. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And yes, so Oishi was actually saying that was his interest. He doesn't have a background in AI, but is very much interested in health management. So I believe it's probably a suitable profile for this course.
True, because you will be discovering, in some cases, there is a little issue because some students become with a very high level of, bioscience knowledge. Some already have some courses on AI general, some even have courses on programming. And at some point, everybody gets to the same level. And then Jean-Baptiste could tell you this second, from January after the Christmas break, the whole thing got very technical. We are very deep technical. Yeah.
In fact, I come from a business. I have a strong business background. So I think we all come from different branches of either healthcare or business or engineering. And I guess at some point we are, let's say, easy in one topic. Like at the beginning, I was quite familiar with the notions were mentioned because it was mostly around business models, etc. But then when it got technical from January on, or when we had like courses about pharmaceutical ecosystems, then I need to spend more time like digging into the topics and reading more and discussing with the speakers to understand the different aspects of the lectures. Like I think at some point there might be stuff that you know more or less because it's something you have already seen in your bachelor or first master, and then new stuff that will definitely interest you.
And maybe I can ask you a question, Jean-Baptiste. How was the interaction? How do you profit or benefit from other students who have a medicine or life science background?
I guess this is very linked to the Transforming Early Maker track. So to give a bit more insights about the TEM track, so Transforming Early Maker, you're in a small group with people that have chosen the same topic as you. So for example, I was working, because the topic is prototyping a digital healthcare solution today. So I was working on the topic of modern care of seniors. And in my group, we were 4, and one guy who came from pharma, one from international relations, but she had 1 year of medicine. I have a business background, and one other guy has a telecommunication and engineering background. And we worked together with 2 engineers from the Mines Saint-Etienne on prototyping a solution. So it definitely has some challenges like working together because we have different point of views on the topics and different ways of working, but it's definitely closer to the real life than what I had done previously, like only working on projects with business people who think the same, and that's really the challenge that I was looking for.
And in this section, I'm going to show you the themes later, but in this Transforming Early Makers track, we mix theoretical courses that give you the basis on design thinking or business design and so on, or market intelligence and so on, business models, and then you have coaching sessions. So sometimes the morning is a lecture and the afternoon is a coaching session. So you go back and forth with your topic already. So you have already a topic, a theme, and like these ones here that we see, and you have to get the idea of the main lecture and then discuss with the coach to say, okay, how can I apply what I learned this morning into my project? And then you have the interaction with the coach, which is sometimes we have different coaches or different topics. Sometimes they're very, I wouldn't say chaotic, but they're very diverse, the topics. They're very diverse.
I guess this was a question that was asked as well. Can we know more info? Can we know more about the speaker, guests, and the professors of the program? So I will maybe answer for the coaches, and you can maybe speak about the professors. So the coaches come from very different background. A lot of them come from the industry. So they are not like teachers, they are bringing their knowledge of the industry. So sometimes maybe they don't have the same pedagogy as a teacher would have, but you have to discuss and try to find the right information for your project to bring home, let's say. So this is also close to the reality, like Maker, like basically they won't give you everything, but if you ask appropriately and if you know how to discuss and interact, reach out, they will be there to answer all your questions and join you on your early maker journey, let's say. So to be more concrete, there were some of them from e-health, some of them from the medical device industry, some of them were consultants, like actually a lot of them, some more from the consultants from the data side, some from the business side and the pharma side. So very various background. Maybe
Yes.
you want to tell more about the teachers as well.
Yeah, the professors are more classic, we could say. Myself, I teach a module on intellectual property. We work on prototyping at the beginning with Benjamin as well. There are courses on blockchain, opening or discussions on blockchain, also run by the same coaches. So we have a coach that is going to be teaching on blockchain in the morning, and in the afternoon is going to be on in the coaching session. What else? Digital collective intelligence or general intelligence in terms of group intelligence and change management, and so on. But the idea of the project is that at the beginning of the year, you will be given topics, no? Like this, and next year there will probably be others. And for instance, Jean-Baptiste chose, basically he chose, his wishes was, working on a solution for seniors, care for seniors. Others chose telehealth or telemedicine, consultations, or e-prescriptions. And basically, automatically, the groups are going to be forming. And then we don't tell you anything else. We just tell you this is the topic. Now you can develop whatever you want, maybe a software solution or maybe a device solution. And then you begin to develop that sort of internally, week by week. And you go shaping that solution. I mean, many solutions were very advanced. The pitch is at the end. That's the goal of the process. By the end, produce a pitch, a 10-minute pitch that is going to be viewed by a jury. And many of the solutions were very advanced. I mean, all of them were interesting, and some were very advanced, and some might enter a new phase of incubation eventually, or acceleration. So it's very interesting to turn your interest into entrepreneurship or even test this. So that's important for us in this sense. What I want to add, let me just see if, okay. What I want to add is that we have two different systems now this year that we have introduced. One is the guest speaker modality that acts as like a joker. What does it mean? That we invite someone from the industry. We invited people from Withings. We invited people from Doctolib, from Adcientam, from different companies. We have two more coming right up now from different side of the industry. And they come for a lunch break, basically, between 12 and 1:30. And they come and they share in a very informal conversation, share their experiences and thoughts with students. And sometimes the students would ask questions about their projects, see, but because they're into the issues with the projects. So we have that guest speaker. So we use the lunch break to have an informal moment, and we, basically benefit of the Zoom culture. And the second thing is called HMDI Go, which are micro consulting projects that we created with small startups. And so we invite a startup to give us their problem, we could say their mission. We share the mission with students, and then students at a voluntary level, they participate in a consulting project. And we already had two. We probably had one more, or maybe two more in the best case scenario. So that was a great experience as well.
Yeah, I can say from a student perspective, it's a very professionalizing experience. It's very far away from the theory, because most of the assignments, for example, that we have are actually project groups. So that's very close to the real life, of course. And I would add something to what you said about like the lunch breaks and basically about the opportunities offered by the master in terms of like networking. I think, like from my point of view, if you want to take full advantage of the program, you should come with like a real want or need to like network, to like reach out to people, and to, let's say, use the name of emlyon to go in the network of the school, to go in the companies that are let's say around the master, like you have seen the different logos at the beginning. Like you can use the context of the master to connect with people, and not wait for opportunities to pop up by themselves. I think that's the main learning I would like to share.
Yeah, we have tried. I mean, if we want to speak 2 seconds about, you know, the COVID-19 situation, we have tried to bring companies closer to the program, and we have maximized the amount of participation of companies compared to last year. Last year we had less because we were focused on basically face-to-face and doing some. Of course, there were other companies involved too, but this year we have exploded in that sense. And we had the luck to introduce Sanofi in one project with a course, so of health performance in the workplace. So we gave our students the policies of Sanofi on wellness and how they were managing their workers during COVID-19, and we analyzed them. They analyzed them with interviews with their managers. So it was very, very dense to produce, but it was a success. We're going to have an additional meeting with Sanofi in a couple of weeks, where the students are going to be pitching again in front of Sanofi in a live session. So this increases the exposure, as Jean-Baptiste was saying, and this, if you benefit, if you are basically interested, you will be given the addresses and the contact points of all these people. So it's up to you. It's up to you to use it.
I saw that there was a question regarding the job opportunity after graduating. So they're asking what are the real job opportunities. So maybe if you can mention some sort of job that our students can land after graduating from this master.
Yes, I mean, when you say what are the real, I mean, I received, I mean, every day we are receiving emails from our students last year that they are basically, we're congratulating them on LinkedIn because they are entering their new jobs. They're transforming their internships from their internships in the same company now as a permanent job. I would say many jobs are, some in consulting in different countries, abroad even. In France and abroad in North America. There was other good jobs on pharmaceutical labs, mid-size. There were jobs in consulting and then
startups as well.
Yeah, startups, of course. Yeah, as an interface, it's an interesting startup that links basically small research labs or small startups with the big pharma, so basically accelerating them to be acquired. So and the other thing is that I mean, Jean-Baptiste could say, but I was discussing with other students, they're not necessarily concerned about the job situation. You know, the healthcare and the digital healthcare industry has been growing and steadily throughout COVID-19 situations, right?
Yeah, I can tell because I'm like in the process of looking for a job afterwards. So just to say, I have like worked about 3 years before at a large medtech company. And I want to say that with most master's program, you will learn about one specific area, whereas this master's offers you the opportunity to be, that's the keyword, a crossover professional, and have both the technological aspect of data and artificial intelligence and the data one. So you are like, I would say, at the sweet spot of healthcare of tomorrow, because you have many doors open depending on your background. So depending on if you studied law, if you studied pharmacology, if you studied business or engineering, there are tons of different jobs. I cannot even cite them all because it depends on what you did and what you want to go after. But I would say the most common ones, there are three, I mean, in areas, there is the pharma, consulting, and startup world, and all the institutions as well, like you mentioned accelerators, incubators, because that's where they need people at the interfaces of technology and healthcare as well as business. So.
Yes, and there's a question from Danilo de Andrade. So basically, he's talking about, I don't know if this question is open, so if everyone can see it, but he talks about his experience in mechanical manufacturing and also engineering, and an MBA in project management, and his fear of or resistance he refers to healthcare companies in resistance on hiring professionals without experience in this area. So the interesting thing about our MSc is that it's going to give you an exposure to different companies. So for instance, I hope that Jean-Baptiste is going to add to his CV, to his resume, the fact that he has done a project with Sanofi. So that exists as an experience in that way. They were quite, and those who were in the HMDI Go, basically on the macro consulting, they're going to add that experience in their CV. So you acquire an experience, and then you can include, I don't know, maybe we can. I would say adapt to your needs. It's very important to talk at the beginning of the year, from the with all the students to see what are their interests, and then try to bring through those guest speakers and companies that are going to be presenting throughout the year, showcase those interests, and then we're going to be able to maximize the opportunities. So in a short question answer to Danilo, yes, you can use the tools from emlyon as both career internships in the future, but also consulting and also alumni. You can use it as a trampoline for your next step, certainly.
We also have a question I believe is more related to Jean-Baptiste. So Gabriel is asking us how you prepared for the interview and the admission process.
Yeah, so Natalie wanted to speak.
Yeah, please.
So it was already full online for me. I went through it December 2019 or 19. And basically how I prepared for it, I had my project well mapped. I think that's the most important, that you must know where you want to go with this master. Like, I knew that I wanted to open as many doors as possible through this master. So I wrote down everything I had in mind as like arguments why this master would be the best. And I went beyond that. Let's say I went to the events organized by emlyon. I asked my questions. I called the student ambassadors. And all these small elements, I used them in my application to refer to what I knew about the program. Let's say you need to link what we tell you today with your application, so that you show you know about the program, you know that the admission let's say the directors are looking for crossover professionals, that they want people that are curious, early makers, etc. All this vocabulary is very specific to the program, and you can reuse it in your application. So that's maybe an advice. And then I didn't prepare, to be honest, for the tests. Like, it's very difficult to prepare for the logical tests, and I had very bad results. So to be frank, I don't think it played a big role. But for the business case, I guess this was challenging. You come out of this experience very tired because it was the first time I had like a live business case. So you have to be very focused, sleep well the night before, and stay hydrated, and keep your head let's say calm, and try to act as a professional, as you would like act in a real life situation. Don't do it like it's just a test among others. Give your best.
Yes, exactly. Yes, if I could add something about it. So the digital test, will take about 1.5 hours approximately. And if I could give you advice about this, just be sure to be in a quiet environment, to have a good connection, be professionally dressed. And then you do not need to have the real preparation before completing this test. Just make sure to be as most sincere as possible during the questions of motivation. That will be very important. And yes, you could prepare your questions, your arguments, but it is also very important for the jury to know more about your profile and for you to be sincere. Just if you were like in a job interview, as for example. And for the business case and the logical test, of course, read well the questions, take the time to read the questions, the context and the chart of the business case. And for the logical test, if you wish to prepare yourself, you could find some examples on the net, but there is no real preparation to have before completing the test. Just be cool and in a quiet place.
Thank you so much. I think Natalie's advice and also Jean-Baptiste is very, very useful and valuable. Another question they're asking us, maybe it's not relevant, but do I need to speak French to be admitted in the program?
No, but if you want to go to a good restaurant, you might need to speak, French for in Lyon, especially. No. There will be courses, offered courses in language courses and Mandarin courses throughout the year. So normally, the international students who wish to perfect their French, not only they will talk with their friends, like Jean-Baptiste, but also they will have the opportunity. Yeah.
I can add to this, like many of my friends are international and they really improve their French by being here. So I think, you don't need to speak French, but of course you will be studying here. So it's really a plus if you want to learn French or if you're like open to talking French, because your integration, your daily life would be much better if you are able to interact with the people in the shop, not in the bars, unfortunately for now, but with the other students, it will be fine. But if you want to go the extra step and maybe find an internship here, as many students from the cohort are looking after, I guess French might be useful. And you might want to learn French before coming, like try to get some basic knowledge, and then you can start perfectioning it when you arrive in France.
Thank you. We have some other questions. So first, I think the first one from Andre could be probably something about how, if you can describe a day in the life of a student in emlyon. So how will be the studying? So maybe if you can describe how your daily routine looks like between classes and studying.
Maybe Jean-Baptiste is the perfect target.
Yeah. Well, as you know, this year is very special. So it's not much about going on campus, etc. Whereas we still go one day on campus to have this social interaction, but due to the governmental regulations, we cannot be there full time, of course. So it's online. You don't see it there, but I have two screens. I think you want to be comfortable at home. So my day is about like waking up just before the class. No, just kidding. Basically, it's like any normal day. Instead of having to go to on campus, I save some time to do other stuff. Like Florencio said, I have a podcast on the side. So it might give you actually some time to do other stuff that you were not able to do before. Like you might read more, you might study more, you might learn more French, for example. So you have more time. Also, we have like a lunch break, of course. When we are on campus, we usually eat together. There is a food truck at the moment on campus. So we spend the time when it's sunny on the rooftop, on the terrace of the campus. And after the lecture, we usually end up at 5, finish at 5. And depending on the days, we have some project groups going on. We actually always have group projects, team stuff to do. So from 5 to 8, 9, we might have meetings to work on some projects, and then it's basically about like exercising and side projects. That's it.
Yeah, and we should say that there is not constant courses every day, all the day. Sometimes, but there's intensity changes, and for instance, in the first trimester, we try to leave Friday afternoon, maybe free for some Fridays off, and we use it just for maybe catching up for any professors which are absent. So we try to do that. And then there's a lot of work at home. It's not just showing up, taking notes, and then going home and that's it. No, there's a lot of work which implies interacting. Maybe we do office hours.
I want to say it's not. I think I saw one comment. It's not an online master on demand. That's the main difference with like on-demand master. This master is live, so you have to attend the lectures and be present, like physically present with your camera. It's better. And then you have a lot of projects going on. Like we are writing a white paper about the sex tech industry, for example. So we have interviews with the speakers that are in Australia, in the US. So we have some meetings. We are flexible on the time zone as well, because if you want to study in an international context, you have to like be open to work maybe late and or wake up a bit earlier. So be flexible and be open-minded. I think that's that, because
thank you. There was a question, about how many students every year are chosen, and also if I can add maybe how many people apply every year, so to get an understanding of how competitive it is to get into this program, this unique program as you just described it.
We have applications. We have over 100, no, I think 120, 130, and this year we have 40. 45, basically, actually 50 that were admitted, and a few that basically. So basically, the rate of acceptance is kind of quite competitive. This year we might. We are hesitating because it's a. I would say that we're going to end up having 40, 45, or 50 student stops. I don't think we will do more than 50, or because the quality, we need to have a direct contact with students. If I saw the question quickly, can you study from abroad? No, in normal times, no. We assume that this is not going to be a constant. COVID is not going to be in our lives forever. Resilience maybe, but not COVID. So we would say next year we hope that everything is going to be back to normal or quite normal. So yes, we took in France, in Paris, in Lyon, and then there's a lot of activities to be done locally.
And actually, Oshin just said I prefer to be in Lyon. Yes,
luckily,
which is great. I think we actually answered all the questions we received so far. Please, if you do have any further questions, send them over and we will be able to answer. Meanwhile, I wanted to ask our speaker if we said a lot about the program, emlyon, and living and studying in France. Is there anything else you want to add? Any advice that you feel like giving the audience tonight?
From my perspective, I would say, Jean-Baptiste said it, show your curiosity, show your interest, study the program, from the information, talk to our students today, in our program, ask them basically what are they studying, and try to reflect yourself. How can you basically, how can this program help you? Okay. And that's the most important thing. The exams are important, of course, the evaluations in the admission, they're important, but they are a part of a global grade. So you should not be afraid of that. Motivation, curiosity, perseverance, a good idea of what you want to do and how we can help it. We are, as Jean-Baptiste sent the link of LinkedIn, we are on LinkedIn. And you can reach out. You can reach out for Natalie as well for any questions you have. Thank you so much on my side.
Thank you. I don't know if the other speakers wants to add anything. I just wanted to say that after this webinar, we will be sending you all an email which contains the brochure of the program, some relevant information, and also there will be a contact details that you can reach out in case you do have any further question. And yes, so Natalie, Benjamin, or Jean-Baptiste, if you want to add anything.
Yes, thank you. Many things that has been said, like keep your eyes and ears wide open. There is so many things happening in the area of healthcare, of technology. There has to be something that you find yourself into. And even though we do not wish to have people having like a precise project coming in the program, it will be better for you if you have an idea of where you want to end up after the program. So you can take advantage, as somebody said, of the opportunity this booster opportunity that you have here and there all along the program, so that you can reach this objective. And this will be, bear in mind that this will be your job for the 40 years that are ahead of you. So try to find something that excites you when you wake up in the morning. It's the best bet.
And to that, I can add that our generation of like students, we will probably change several times of job in the future. So this master gives you really a broad knowledge of the healthcare industry, not just learning about pharmacology or learning about medtech. You get to see lots of different perspectives about the industry, and you will be possibly able to move from pharma to e-health and to medtech. And that's actually my goal. Like, I want to see many things before I decide eventually or not, I don't know, to specialize in one. But I guess now what we see more and more is that recruiters look for people who have various experiences and who do not stick to one specific industry or experience, and are open to opportunities. So this one is great.
Perfect. So thank you so much. I'd like to thank Natalie, Florent, Jean-Baptiste, and Benjamin for being with us tonight.
Thank you,
all of you, for being
Federica.
connected. And we really look forward to seeing you all at the next live emlyon webinar. And I really hope that if you put an application through, you get to meet all of our speakers in person. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you
a great
all.
rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.